The book is the nastiest skank bitch I have ever read. Do not trust her. It is a fugly slut. Hi guys, Kristen here. Welcome back to the channel, and if this is your first time here, thank you for watching this video. Today I'm going to react to 1-star reviews of some of my favorite books. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, I really don't, but I thought it would be interesting to look up some of my OG favorite fantasy series and take a look at what the 1-star reviews had to say. So I've got some older releases here and some more recent releases, and we are just going to see what those 1-star haters have to say. So we're gonna start with Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which is a YA fantasy series that I read a few years ago. It even had a spin-off, and the first book in that series was Once Upon a Broken Heart. I remember that I loved Caraval so much I stayed up until the wee hours of the morning to read it. I'm pretty sure I read it in like one day, but apparently not everybody feels that way. Let's take a look at what the 1-star reviews from Goodreads have to say. Okay, there's YA for intelligent thinking young adults, right? And some YA is for itty bitty babies that don't yet understand the dynamics of the Frozen movie plot. Wow, harsh. This book is too immature and silly and ridiculous and dumb to be written for any young adults I know. In all fairness, I only listened to 3 hours of it. Well, okay. We're off to a great start already. That's okay. I honestly can't think of one single thing that I liked about this book. I was bored and uninvested. If someone took a shot every time Julian took his shirt off or his hard chest and golden abs were mentioned, they would die of alcohol poisoning. Okay, that's true. That's probably a very good point, to be honest. Funny. Funny. What does that mean? Was the book funny? Is the review supposed to be funny? I don't think I've been this angry reading a book since I read The Lovely Bones. Are you kidding me? What a comparison. Dear God. It is not as serious as The Lovely Bones. My goodness. What absolute twaddle. Twaddle? Twaddle? How do we say that? I think it's twaddle. I gave it 1 star because, hey, this lady wrote a book and that deserves some applause. I will say though, on Goodreads, there is nothing below 1 star. Like, you can't give it 0 stars. So you gave it 1 star kind of because you had to, but okay. All right, well, that was a little bit of a rough start, but it wasn't terrible, to be honest. I'm gonna move on to another YA fantasy that is a bit of an older release. I knew going in that the 1-star reviews for this one were gonna be kind of rough. I just know, like, people who read this book later than when it came out, people that compared it to like current YA fantasy. And this book is Vampire Academy by Richelle Mead. The first in a just fantastic series. Come on, this is like OG YA fantasy royalty. Is it highbrow literature? Absolutely not. Was it amazing and fun and emotional and I was invested in the characters way back when it first came out? Absolutely. All right, let's see what we got. This book could have been really great. I love the class system she created. However, the only characters I liked were secondary, Dimitri and Christian. So those are like the 2 main male characters really in the first book. How is every single person in this book stupid? Did the author not have ink to write in brains? Okay, well, you know, it was a different time, okay? Ugh, I hate vampire books. Well, okay, so you're not going to enjoy this vampire book then. Let me start out by saying that I was forced against my own will to read this book because my friend refused to read Sarah Dessen book. Oh, for heaven's sakes. We made a deal that I would read Vampire Academy if she would read a Dessen book of my choice. She still hasn't held her part of the deal. Why even bother rating a book under those circumstances? Like, why even take the time to go on your Goodreads account and rate it 1 star? Like, this isn't your genre. You read this book against your own will. Like, why even bother? Oh, you ever read a book as a teenager and remember thinking it was okay, only to read it as an adult and cringe aggressively? Well, to be fair, I've never gone back and done a reread of Vampire Academy, and I can fully see myself cringing aggressively while reading the book. I'm older than I was. I've read a lot broader spectrum of YA fantasy. Yeah, I don't think I would be taking it down to 1 star though, because you read the Vampire Academy books for the vibes. You read it for the emotion. You read it for the fun, for the characters, for the roller coaster ride. You were just going on vibes, okay? I can't finish the book. I cannot tolerate the attitude of Rose. There were people that did not like Rose in Vampire Academy. Rose made my eyes rolling while reading it made me dizzy. Okay? She almost gave me cancer with some of these. Really? She almost gave you cancer? How? How? Like, all right, we're gonna go with a slightly more recent release. This one's an adult sci-fi, and it's Project Hail Mary. I thought it would be fun to look at Project Hail Mary's 1-star reviews on Goodreads, and to be fair, this book has an extremely high Goodreads average, like the highest of anything that I've read in the last couple of years, to be honest. But with the movie coming out soon, I thought, okay, what did people say about this book that hated it? Andy Weir cannot write, and I'm tired of people pretending he can. Okay, first let's talk about characters. Well, there is no character here. I only see a vague man-shaped science textbook in an astronaut suit. Wait, let me put my glasses on. It's Mark Watney. The book is the nastiest skank bitch I have ever read. Do not trust her. It is a fugly slut. All right, well, first of all, someone is a Mean Girls fan, and I applaud that. But to use that as part of a 1-star review for Project Hail Mary, what? Like, come on, what did this book do to you? I was so excited to read this book. By blurb, I thought this will be a gritty murder mystery in space. Okay, I gotta go back and read the blurb, I guess. Before even reading, I set my expectations so high. Okay, well, it's not a grisly space murder mystery, so I can see why they were disappointed, but they even admit, but that's on me, but they still gave it a 1-star review. DNF at 21%. Okay, that's not very far into the book. I fully support DNFing whenever you feel like it, and I fully support reviewing a book that you DNF'd, but I usually don't review a book that I didn't finish when I stopped that early in the book, because like, what's the point? I just about lost it as someone who's been given ultimate worldwide authority over all things astrophage to ask, what does that mean? After being told the astrophages contain hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 2 to 1. I mean, come on. Seriously. Think of the hydrogen. I don't have any idea what that means. This 1-star review is from someone who knows a lot more about science than I do, I guess. I don't know. It's a no from me, dog. Okay, that's pretty funny. I was reading this while on an airplane, and all I could think was, well, if the plane crashes, at least I won't have to finish this book. Are you kidding me? But crash we did not, and I did finish this book. One word, hate. I don't know that I've ever hated a book that I finished that much. If I'm hating it that much while reading, I'll usually just stop reading it. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. The first in the Folk of the Air, was that the name of the series? We're back to YA fantasy. I personally love The Cruel Prince. When I first started reading the book, I remember like in the first few chapters, I was not into it all. I did not appreciate the writing style. Something about it just wasn't my cup of tea. And then all of a sudden, it went from that to like, I absolutely am obsessed with this book. Now I'm going to hurt my own feelings by seeing what all of the haters who hated The Cruel Prince thought of it. Should have stopped reading at the mention of his tail. Okay, well, I can't say anything about that. That one was a surprise, I must say. I want this book to come to life so I can punch it in the face. It is terrible. Wow. Oh, it's tagged with complete trash. Goodness. I think I would feel better if this book had a disclaimer. Okay. People and relationships as seen in this book cannot and should not be considered in any way healthy. The author took the liberty to fantasize about bullies and their victims. This fantasy should absolutely not be, okay, it's called The Cruel Prince. It is very, very clear from the beginning of the book. Carden is a prince and he's cruel. It's in the title, it's in the description, like the synopsis on the back of the book. In fact, I don't think any author writing a fantasy book is necessarily trying to give us like the blueprint to a healthy relationship. This novel is very cutesy and light, not a heavy reading experience. Okay. It's intended for a younger audience. It's not spicy at all. It is sweet. Okay. I honestly did find it boring though. Not much happens, but it is a quick read even though it feels longer when you're reading it. What? It's boring. It's a quick read and not much happens, but it feels longer when you're reading it. It feels longer when you're reading it, but when you're done, it was a quick read. Well, that one wasn't so bad. That one actually had a couple of funny ones. All right, we are gonna go with probably the most recent release on this list of books for this video, and that is The Night and the Moth, written by Rachel Gillig. I absolutely adore this book. Super strong 5 stars, like 6-star book. Cannot wait for the sequel to come out. And so, of course, we are going to go and see what people who hate it have to say about it. Stunning cover, interesting and well-written start, and the gargoyle. Stunning cover, interesting and well-written start, and the gargoyle was the best character. I will fully agree with that. I'm on board so far. It's so horrendously dull. All I can remember right now is that frat party / fantasy weed smoking scene with the diviners, which kind of set the tone for the rest of the book for me. What? That's not at all how I would describe the scene that they're referring to. Frat party, weed smoking scene. Basic baddie goes to Middle Ages. We don't like violence, but kick everyone in the crotch. If I hear oi one more time, I'm gonna die. With hate from a high fantasy reader. Did they think they were writing a letter to the author herself? DNF 21% wouldn't give a rat's ass if anyone in this book lived or died. This was a poor man's From Blood and Ash. We'll go back to that in a second. I didn't buy anything I was being sold in this book. A poor man's From Blood and Ash? Excuse me. I love Jennifer Armentrout. I loved the first book in From Blood and Ash. This has nothing to do with that. They're so dissimilar, I can't even. And even though I really liked the first 2 books in the From Blood and Ash series, I would definitely say that the writing and the plot is far superior in The Night and the Moth. Just gonna say. Turns out I get really seasick. This was bad. What? Are they on a boat ever in this book? What are they talking about? I get really seasick? I don't even understand that one. The next one is perhaps a book that you've never heard of, but it is one of my all-time favorite fantasy books, period. It is the beginning of one of my favorite series, period. And it is older, it's an older series, and it wasn't like crazy popular, but because I feel so strongly about it, I absolutely had to include it. That is Unholy Ghosts, written by Stacia Kane. I know that the 1-star hate for this book is strong because it is definitely not a series for everyone. It involves a woman who has been through a lot in her past. She has a drug problem. She is a witch that banishes ghosts for a living. We're in kind of like this dystopian, fantastical, futuristic setting. There's like a lot. I just know that the 1-star reviews for this are gonna be intense. So I was semi-enjoying this book, but what in sweet baby Jesus' name would possess an author to purposely have the characters talk like they got hit with the short end of the stick in the mouth and possibly head? Okay, so that's fair, to be honest. That's one of the reasons why this series is not for everyone. A lot of the horror characters that live in the city, they have this really specific and unique way of talking, and you either like ease into it and you get used to it and becomes not a problem, almost even like endearing, or you just hate it. I've never found that there's any in between. Personally, I love the series. It's a 5-star series for me. It's not for everybody, I will say. Flouncing around 60%. What is flouncing? There's bouncing and there's floundering. What's flouncing? Am I learning a new word, or is this person crazy? Flouncing around 60%. I am too bored to keep reading. I guess out of all the supernatural creatures to read about, ghosts are my least favorite, okay? I did want to finish this book / series because I've heard great things about Caraval. I at least wanted to get to the point where I'd find out what it is about him everyone loves, but nah, everything else is too boring. I do love Caraval very much. I managed to get halfway through this book before I couldn't continue, not impressed with it at all. Poor characters, didn't like the drug addiction angle at all, and it's not mentioned that it's such a big part, I think it's supposed to say big part of the storyline. Okay. The dialogue was painful. We've already covered that. The heroine, a junkie whore? What? Really? Who would care about this character? Oh my God. Linda. Jeez. Too much taking drugs and sleeping around, the dead rising, and the world being taken over by a communist-styled world of truth. Not fun. Okay, well, a lot of that didn't even make sense, first of all. Just hated it with all my person. And that slang, ugh. And that love triangle, ugh. No. D and F, I hate love triangles. No, just no. Those are the tags for it. All right, well, I knew that the people that disliked Unholy Ghosts really probably disliked it, but I still recommend it. Moving on to probably the most popular love it or hate it book on this list, and that is Fourth Ring. If I had $1 million for every cliche in this book, of which there are a multitude, I still regret spending $20 on all 498 pages of this mess. Come on. If you got millions of dollars for reading this book, would you really regret the $20 you spent on it? No. Some of y'all about to be real mad at me, but this is awful. Also, if this is enemies to lovers, then oh, how mighty have fallen. Well, enemies to lovers? Is that the mighty that has fallen? The amount of time I cringed was insane. I'd rather stick molten hot needles in my eyes than read sequel. That's a little bit dramatic. I don't think we need to go quite that far. Who had a gun to the head of everyone who rated this 5 stars? This shitty book is as useful as toilet paper and serves the same purpose. Alrighty, that's intense. This book tastes like ass and not the good kind. What? What? Did you read the book or did you eat the book? I have a lot of questions about this one, actually. I'd like to speak to this person. I have some things I want to know. All right, moving on to Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is a YA sci-fi quartet. It's a retelling. Well, Cinder is a retelling of Cinderella. Very loose retelling of Cinderella. It's science fiction, and at the time that these 4 books released, they're just like so unique and just so fun and quick reads and great characters. My favorite is actually book 3, Crest, which I know is a lot of people's favorite. I'm just saying that if you haven't read the series. I did not think the 1-star reviews for this were going to be too bad because it is generally a beloved series and the people that don't like it are just like meh about it, but I was wrong. Horrible, awful book. I feel like it was written by a 9-year-old. Unless they are dark and broody, fairy tales aren't really my thing. Okay, then what are you doing here? And Cinder here is a retelling of Cinderella, the most boring and stupid fairy tale of them all. So you knew it was a retelling of Cinderella, and you read it anyway. A book so bad I forgot the main character's name like 2 seconds after being done with it. The main character's name is Cinder. It's the name of the book. If you forgot that 2 seconds after being done with it, I think that says more about you than the book. This is one of those popular books that I just don't get why people liked. It absolutely blows my mind that people actually read this book and liked it. How? Why? What part did you like? I liked all of it. Dr. Rita? I liked all of it. Folks, we have come to the final book that we're going to discuss today, and that is, hold on to your hats, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. My favorite of the Sarah J. Maas series, a series that is near and super, super dear to my heart. But we're gonna talk about book 1, which, as you know, is not the strongest book in the series. And I knew that the 1-star hate for this book was gonna be strong. Let's see. A female version of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. How? Gaston specifically hates reading. Specifically makes fun of Belle for reading. Selena loves reading. She reads stacks and stacks of books. Dorian loves reading. Everybody in this book reads. I don't even want to read the rest of that. Okay, we will actually read a little more. Selena is one of the least humble characters ever written. She is the female version of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, but worse. I can't even. Just stop. I can't with that. Absolutely not. 0.5 stars for Nehemia, fair enough. 0.3 stars for Dorian, odd, okay. And 0.2 stars for Kale, also weird. Absolutely 0 stars for Selena, since she's a waste of space and time, and I hate her. 1.5 stars. Well, I did it. It might have taken me what felt like an eternity, but I did it. 1 star for Kale and a ½ star for the last 40 pages of the book. Okay, well, you know, I'm not gonna be mad at this person because they gave a full star just to Kale. Update. Oh boy. Disclaimer, I have a feeling this is going to be another Lunar Chronicles Shatter Me kind of series, where the first book or 2 gets a very low rating, and then the following books get 4 or 5 stars. What? The first lunar, okay, well, we just talked about Cinder, and Shatter Me was, I could have included that in this video too. That is because while the book is written horribly, or the world building is non-existent, or the characters are constructed incorrectly, I'm able to overlook all of it because I'm just in love with the characters. Hopefully that'll happen further down the line for this series. In fact, I'm confident it will. I don't think I've ever continued a series where I gave book 1 star. I was basically all ready to put my brain in a shoebox, enjoy this book as the fluffy, fun fantasy light that I knew it was gonna be. And yet, like an ungrateful seagull, this book shat on my face from page 1. What? Okay, well, that's kind of funny. That's where we're going to end. I think that's a good one to end on. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like. Let me know in the comment section below if you've read any of the books from this video. Did you give them 1 star or 5 stars? I promise you I won't judge. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, you should definitely get on that. You can help me meet my goal of 1,500 subscribers, which I have set as a personal goal for myself. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.